I sort of got started on film in photography. Actually, I was really interested in stills photography, and when I was growing up in Armagh, Northern Ireland, I wasn't a cineast. I didn't. There wasn't even a cinema there, in fact, or it had got burnt down when I was aged 12. But I wasn't into cinema at all. But photography was something that really interested me, and I was really into art as well. So through the photography, I sort of gradually got into working with a camera when an art teacher at my school suggested that I pick up a little Super 8 camera and make a portrait of a town, because I'd done a series of photographs of my hometown using stills. And he said, why not translate this into... So it was great. I wandered around the town and I did all these shots around the town. But I discovered when I decided I wanted to apply to a film school in London, and I brought along my little Super 8 camera that I'd never projected, I got a bit of a awakener when I realised that you can't turn a film camera on its side like that, like you would a stills camera. So that was my first big education, epiphany in cinema, that you can't turn the camera on its side. Of course you can turn it, but it's not going to be vertical. So you could see that I had a lot to learn. And there is a lot to learn, but the essence of cinematography can be learnt through stills, and that would be my advice to anybody actually who wants to know about cinematography and wants to become a cinematographer, is pick up a stills camera and become adept. Just look through a lens at the world, you know. Look at light, look at composition, look at the graphic shapes of things, understand and learn to forget about technique through your use in stills, because it's cheaper, especially now with digital, that you can go manual with digital, you can do all this amazing stuff, and you can post-produce your pictures digitally. But learn about exposure and shutter speeds and contrast and all those things, in colour, and enjoy light, you know, and look at things through a lens, because it's very different how a lens transforms the real. You know, it can, through the use of perspective, through the use of focus, all these things are central to cinematography and to filmmaking. And as soon as you start looking at things with that in mind, you can look in 180 or 360, whatever our field of view is, and think about it through the lens. Which I suppose is like learning a language, maybe, but it's a similar skill that you're acquiring. But it's a really enjoyable one to learn. If I could encourage people to do that, like just pick up a camera and have fun with it. I mean, if I was to think about a film that really influenced me, it's an old one. It's an old film that's been said as a propaganda film, but I never thought of it as such. And it's A Matter of Life and Death by the great Paul Pressburger. It's an amazing film. It's photographed in vivid Technicolor and monochromatic black and white. And heaven, actually, conversely to what you would think, is actually black and white. And the earth, the terrestrial world, is in vivid Technicolor. There's a great scene where Robespierre comes down from heaven and says, we are starved of Technicolor up here. I think up there, I think Technicolor must have had a few quid in the film to get that advertisement. But it was a lovely in-joke. But it was photographed by probably my favourite cinematographer of all time, Jack Cardiff, who's still shooting films and is a brilliant man and brilliant cinematographer. And he's shot some of the greatest films of the 20th century. One thing I would say to anybody who wants to be a cinematographer is don't be formulaic. Try to be fearless in exploring the boundaries, because it's such a young art. Filmmaking is absolutely nascent and being born, and there's so many possibilities. And I think that there's a desire for people to be good and to make it a career, you know, to make money from it. Obviously, you know, people have to make a living, but it is an art form at the same time, and I think that there's a lot that people can explore in this medium. and there's a lot that hasn't been explored, and I think that's the exciting thing, that there's so much more that we're going to see from young filmmakers coming up who are just kind of let caution go to the wind and letting their imaginations fly through a camera lens.